It's 3 p.m. on a Saturday. Your kid walks into the kitchen and says, "I'm bored." And just like that, you feel it. That little spike of panic, like you've somehow failed as a parent because your child isn't currently engaged in a meaningful, enriching activity. So what do? You scramble. You suggest a craft. You pull out the tablet. You start planning tomorrow's outing because clearly today wasn't enough. But here's the wild thing. What if that moment of boredom wasn't a problem to solve? What if it was actually the whole point? The setup. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. There's this constant hum of pressure, like we're supposed to keep our kids entertained every single moment. Activities, screens, toys, play dates, something planned from breakfast to bedtime. And honestly, it's exhausting. But more than that, it's confusing. Because on one hand, we want to give our kids the best. We want them stimulated, engaged, learning. But on the other hand, weren't we bored as kids, like a lot? And didn't we turn out okay? So I started asking myself, is boredom actually good for kids? Or are we just romanticizing the past because we're tired? Let's talk about it. Why boredom feels so uncomfortable. First, let's be real about why boredom feels like the enemy. When your kid says, "I'm bored," it doesn't just land neutrally. It lands like an accusation. Like you're supposed to be their personal entertainment director, and you've dropped the ball. Plus, bored kids get loud. They whine, they fight with their siblings, they suddenly need 17 snacks, and if you don't intervene, things get thrown, or dumped, or accidentally broken. So yeah, boredom feels inconvenient. It feels disruptive. And in a world where we're already juggling work, meals, laundry, and keeping tiny humans alive, adding boredom management to the list feels like too much. But here's what's happening under the surface. The science part, but make it simple. When kids are bored, their brains are actually doing something really important. They're learning to sit with discomfort. And I know that sounds like therapist talk, but stay with me. See, constant entertainment teaches kids that uncomfortable feelings need to be fixed immediately. Bored? Here's a screen. Restless? Here's an activity. Frustrated? Let me solve it for you. But when we step back and let them feel bored, even for just 10 or 15 minutes, they start doing something incredible. They start problem solving. Neuroscientists call this the default mode network. It's the part of your brain that kicks in when you're not focused on something external. And it's where creativity happens, where daydreaming happens, where kids start thinking, what if I turned this cardboard box into a spaceship? Basically, boredom is the brain's way of saying, okay, time to get creative. The independence factor. And here's the other thing boredom builds: independence. When we're constantly stepping in to entertain, we're sending a subtle message. You can't figure this out on your own. But when we say, "I hear you're bored. I wonder what you'll come up with," and then we walk away, we're saying, "I trust you to handle this." That's huge. Because the goal isn't to raise kids who need us to orchestrate their every moment. The goal is to raise kids who can think for themselves, who can create their own fun, who can sit in a waiting room without melting down because there's no iPad. And those skills? They don't come from being entertained. They come from being bored. But let's be honest about the challenges. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend this is easy, because it's not. First of all, modern life is not set up for boredom. Everything is designed to grab attention. Apps, ads, content, notifications. It's all screaming for our kids' eyeballs. And second, we live in a culture that treats childhood like a resume building competition. If your kid isn't in 3 activities by age 5, it feels like they're falling behind. So letting your kid be bored, it feels countercultural. It feels risky. It feels like you're doing nothing when you should be doing something. But that's exactly why it matters. The guilt spiral. Here's where the guilt comes in. You see other parents posting about their weekend adventures, the museum trips, the hikes, the homemade sensory bins with color-coordinated themes. And you're like, we watched TV and played in the dirt. Cue the spiral. But listen, Your kid doesn't need a Pinterest-perfect childhood. They need space. They need time to just be. They need to figure out what they actually like, not just what you've scheduled for them. And honestly, the dirt might be more valuable than the museum. Practical shifts you can make. So what does this actually look like in real life? Here are a few things that have helped me reframe boredom, not as a crisis, but as an opportunity. 1. When they say, "I'm bored," resist the urge to fix it immediately. Instead, try something like, "Boredom means your brain is looking for something to do. I bet you'll figure it out." Then walk away. Seriously, walk away. 2. Create a boredom-friendly space. A box of random craft supplies, a pile of old cardboard, some dress-up clothes, stuff that has no instructions, no right way to use it, just open-ended mess potential. 3. Build in unstructured time. I know schedules are necessary, but try to carve out at least one chunk of the day or week where there's literally nothing planned. No activities, no screens, just free time. 4. Model it yourself. Let your kids see you sitting quietly, reading, staring out the window, not on your phone, just being, because they're learning from you that it's okay to do nothing. And 5, this one's big. Let go of the idea that good parenting means constant engagement. You don't have to play cars for 2 hours. You don't have to facilitate every moment. Your presence is enough. Your availability is enough. You don't have to be the cruise director. The nuance. Now, I want to add something important here. This isn't about abandoning your kids or ignoring their needs. If your kid is genuinely struggling, if they're dysregulated, anxious, or going through something hard, then yes, they might need more support, more connection, more co-regulation. Boredom works best when kids feel safe and secure, when they know you're nearby, even if you're not entertaining them. It's not about neglect, it's about trust. The bigger picture. Here's what I keep coming back to. We're raising kids in a world that's faster, louder, and more stimulating than ever before. A world where attention is currency and stillness feels like a waste of time. But what if we gave our kids something radical? What if we gave them permission to be bored? Because in those quiet, uncomfortable, nothing-to-do moments, something amazing happens. They start to discover who they are, what they like, what they think, what they can create when no one's telling them what to do. And isn't that the whole point? So the next time your kid walks up and says, "I'm bored," take a breath. You're not failing. You're not doing it wrong. You're giving them space to grow. And maybe, just maybe, you're giving yourself permission to stop being the entertainment committee. I'd love to hear from you. Do you let your kids be bored, or does it make you feel guilty? How do you handle those "I'm bored" moments? Drop a comment below. Let's talk about this. And if this resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're figuring this parenting thing out together. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.